We'll continue with Mr. Owaisi.
Honorable Speaker, sir. Sir, in continuation with my speech, I would continue by saying that, sir, so the Andhra Pradesh State Assembly had passed a resolution on 25th November 1955 to provide safeguard to Telangana. The resolution inter alia said the Andhra Assembly would further like to assure the people of Telangana that development of the area would be deemed to be special charge and that certain priorities and special protection would be given for the improvement of that area, such as reservation in services and education institutions on the basis of population and irrigational development. The Hyderabad Assembly also discussed an official resolution on SRC report from 25th November to 3rd December 1955. Out of 174 members of Hyderabad Assembly, 147 expressed their views, 103 favored Vishal Andhra, 29 supported a separate Telangana state, whereas 15 members remained neutral. From among the 94 members from Telangana region, 59 favored Vishal Andhra and 25 supported Telangana and 1 remained neutral. There were 11 members from the Muslim community in Hyderabad Assembly, including 8 from Congress and 2 from PDF, but they had to toe with their party lines and could not ventilate the concerns of Muslims in the House. Voting did not take place since the proponent of Telangana insisted on including the paras, phrases as per the wish of people in the resolution, sir. Sir, Hyderabad Chief Minister, the then Hyderabad Chief Minister, Mr. Bulugur Ramakrishna Rao, in his letter to Congress President said Communist Party supported the merger for their political gains. The then Hyderabad PCC chief said that an overwhelming majority from Congress Party opposed the merger and communists were elected. In the special circumstances in 1951, and Vishal Andhra was not a political issue in 1951. And therefore, the Assembly does not reflect the people's view. On this issue, the locals agitated against the non-locals during the 1952 Mulki agitation. He also said that 80% of Congress delegates who were elected in 1955 opposed merger. The government had to provide additional security to communist leaders who supported the Vishal Andhra. To convince the leadership of Telangana to join the new state, an agreement was reached between the leaders of both the sides on 20th February 1956. This came to be known as the Gentleman's Agreement and allowed the formation of State of Andhra Pradesh in 1956. Itself, again, the SRC recommendations. This being so, the merger of Andhra Pradesh with Telangana region to form the State of Andhra Pradesh on linguistic basis took place consequent to the trifurcation of the erstwhile Hyderabad state, which has become the part of Indian Union following the police section against the Nizam dominions. And in September 1948, if one looks at the events that preceded and followed the police section, the minority Muslim community had witnessed the kind of tragedy which has few parallels. The integration of Hyderabad state with the Indian Union could have been achieved without the Indian military offense if the then Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and his deputy Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel had shown a little patience to make the Nizam agree to the accession of the state to independent India. The tragedy that befell Hyderabad Muslim minority was truly heart-rending, sir. And this has been well addressed in Pandit Sundarlal's report also, sir. I do not want to recall the happenings in September 1948 and in subsequent month and thereafter in Hyderabad state of the Indian Union. Suffice to say that Pandit Sundarlal committee constituted by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had the documented the massacre and the atrocities that had occurred in the wake of the police section. Soon after, thousands of Muslim employees were dismissed from services. Urdu was replaced as official language and principal medium of instructions. And thousands of Muslims have lost their jobs. The Jagirs and Inams were abolished. The Nizam's crown, the Sarfakhas lands were taken over. The landed Muslim gentry was driven out of the hundreds of villages across the territories of Hyderabad state from being part of the ruling establishment. The Muslim became the rule. They were tormented by their detractors from the precautions of Sangh Parivar, Arya Samaj and Hindu Mahasabha, the Congress Party and Communist Party. In 1951, elections were held for 175 members Hyderabad Assembly. The territories of Hyderabad state, including Marathwada, Hyderabad, Karnataka region, and Telangana, the Congress could secure a simple majority with 93 members. The communists who had contested the poll under the banner of Progressive Democratic Front had emerged as the second largest group with 42 members. Other parties and independents won 40 seats. There were virtual fight between Congress and communists for gaining control over Hyderabad state, and leftists had to yield power to Congress since they had little presence in Marathwada and Hyderabad, Karnataka regions. On the other hand, sir, there were Voices of Vishal Andhra in Andhra state, which was formed on 1st of October 1953. This demand was driven by political and economic considerations. The people of Andhra state who could not get Madras city to be the capital eyed Hyderabad as the capital of a larger Telugu state. The political instability, Tangaturi Prakasham Pantulu became the first chief minister of Andhra state. However, due to opposition from the communist and halting support from the socialists his ministry fell after a year in office. President rule imposed in Andhra state. Midterm assembly elections were held in 1955. The Congress won 119 seats in the House of 196 members. CPI, Praja Socialist Party, Praja Party, Krishna Lok Party and Independence won remaining 77 seats. The communists were rearing their heads in Andhra state, and Congress party was equally wary of them. I would like to quote from, now that when we say that the decision for Telangana is the political decisions are not new for the state. Political decisions were taken then, and political decisions are being taken now also for their political gains. I would like to quote from the SRC report with regard to Hyderabad. It is obvious that so far as Hyderabad was concerned, the SRC had set a task ahead. In para 360, SRC report page 101 said it clearly. There has been a general demand with popular support behind it that Hyderabad state should be disintegrated on the basis of linguistic and cultural affinity. This demand does not rest merely on linguistic grounds. In the case of Hyderabad, however, it is contended that the state has long been an artificial political unit, that the progress of people who have remained backward cannot be accelerated unless the three component regions are attached and more advanced units. This step is also said to be necessary for the liquidation of the undemocratic tradition which is stated is still deep rooted in the states. The SRC, again in the para 363, pointed out that public sentiments both within and without the state is overwhelming, and insisted on the need for the disintegration of the state. The Congress party is unanimous regarding the issue of disintegration. Every other political party has appeared before us, however, disunited on other points, have shown striking unanimity in these questions. From the view expressed by the different parties and members of the state legislature, it is clear that only a negligible minority favors the maintenance of the status quo. Dismissing the opposition of the disintegration of Hyderabad state, the SRC, in the para 364 observed not only in the opposition to the disintegration of the state, confined to minor section, but the argument on which this opposition is based also do not bear scrutiny in para 367, stated, thus it will be seen that the plea for the continuation of Hyderabad rests on weak foundations. Thus it will be seen that the plea of continuation of Hyderabad rests on weak foundations. These are the observations from the SRC. Sir. From all this, it is absolutely clear that the formation of Andhra Pradesh with the merger of Telangana region with Andhra state was influenced by the factor other than linguistic or cultural. The idea was to dismantle the Hyderabad state, which retained the same boundaries as the erstwhile Nizam state of Hyderabad, notwithstanding the concern and objections of the Muslim minority and other sections of the society. The Muslim community which was yet to recover from the political and economic disempowerment in 8 years, that is from 1948 to 56 since police action, was subjected to emotional and physical disintegration. With the trifurcation of Hyderabad state, they found themselves divided into Marathwada region and was added to Bombay state, Hyderabad Karnataka region that was tagged on to Mysore state, and Telangana region that was merged with Andhra Pradesh. Hyderabad state lost 5 districts, Latur, Nanded, Osmanabad, Aurangabad and Parbhani to Bombay State, and 3 districts, Gulbarga, Bidar and Raichur to Mysore State. The remaining 8 districts in Telangana were merged with Andhra Pradesh to form the state of Andhra Pradesh, Hyderabad, which was once described by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as a miniature India due to its cultural synthesis and intermingling of people of different races, language, religion and regions was shown of its identity that had evolved over centuries. Muslim belonging to these 3 regions of Hyderabad witnessed trauma, untold hardship with the trifurcation of the state. To this day, they are being discriminated against in Maharashtra and in Karnataka state. These regions have remained backward for nearly 6 decades, and for this reason, regional development boards have formed by Hyderabad, Karnataka region through a constitutional amendment recently. More than anybody else, Muslim minorities suffered the most in formation of AP. They have been subjected to injustice more than any other communities. Apart from communal rights have taken place in different parts of Telangana region since 1956, Muslims suffered the most when they were deprived of the jobs under compulsory retirement drive undertaken during the emergency in the regime of Jalagam Vengal Rao. And also when retirement age was reduced from 58 to 55 by N.T. Ramarao regime in 1983. The economic deprivation continues to be the fate of vast majority of Muslims. In the region, Muslims are engaged in self-employment or small-time vocational. The dropout rate continues to be high among Muslims. Students, a large number of Muslims suffer from physical disabilities and ailments. After the political disempowerment, right from local bodies to state legislature and parliament, is a strike reality, sir. Now when the debate is taking place on AP reorganization bill, it reminds me of the trauma and the concern of minorities when the trifurcation of Hyderabad state and merger of Telangana with Andhra state were being contemplated. No tears were shed when trifurcation was effected in the name of reorganization of states. When SRC report was debated in Hyderabad assembly, no one spoke on the concerns of minority or against the trifurcation of the state. It mattered little to the votaries of trifurcation that this would adversely impact the Muslims. Now some of our friends are expressing their anger over the bifurcation of AP into 2 Telugu-speaking states. They say this is against the unity of Telugus, but nobody is again talking about the impact of bifurcation on the minorities, especially Muslims in Telangana and Seema Andhra region also. No one seems to be bothered about the concerns and apprehensions of minorities, about the well-being, their social economic progress, their political empowerment, their security, their safety, and AP is bifurcated into 2 smaller states. When the cake is big, everybody can partake a piece from it. But if the cake gets smaller, only a few can partake it. Minorities will thus be the worst sufferers in the post-bifurcation period in both the states. I say this, that is why we have been cautioning against the bifurcation of the state. The fact though all political parties in AP have taken shifting stance on Telangana issue for opportunistic political reasons, over the decades our party, All India Majlis Ittehad al-Muslimin, has stuck to its principal stand on the issue as by our party President Janab Abdul Wahid Owaisi late and Sultan Salahuddin Owaisi during a separate Telangana agitation in 1968 to 71 and separate Andhra movement in 1972 to 73. Our party stood for integration when this agitation rocked the state. The stand taken by our party has stood the test of time for the last 45 years. When the issue resurfaced in the late 90s and picked up momentum in the last 10 years, we again took the principle stand that there was no need to bifurcate the state and that the grievance of the people of backward region can be addressed within framework of integrated state of Andhra Pradesh. This stand, reiterated by our party before the United Progressive Alliance, UPS subcommittee headed by Sri Pranab Mukherjee in 2005 and at 3 all-party meeting convened by successive Union Home Minister in the year 2010, 2011 and 2012 before the Sri Krishna Committee in 2010 and during the debates in AP State Assembly and all the party meeting convened by successive Chief Minister of AP in the last 12 years, sir. It may be recalled that on the eve of 2004 Assembly and Lok Sabha polls, the Congress party promised in the election manifesto to consider the demand of separate state and contemplated appointment of a second state reorganization commission to go into Telangana statehood and other similar demands. The Congress contested the polls in alliance with Telangana Rashtra Samiti and the two Communist Party. The Congress regained the power both in state and at the center thanks to its spectacular performance in AP. Telangana statehood issue was included in Common Minimum Program in the ruling coalition of UPA. Subsequently, in January 2005, the UPA had formed a three-member subcommittee under chairmanship of the then Union Minister Sri Pranab Mukherjee to study the Telangana statehood issue. The UPA subcommittee was entrusted the task of consultation for evolving consensus on the issue within a stipulated time frame of 8 weeks. For reasons best known to the Indian government and the UPA leadership, there was no forward movement, with the UPA subcommittee holding only 3 inconclusive meetings and so-called process of consultation or evolving consensus thus remained a non-starter. Later were sent out to all the political parties represented in parliament. Many parties, including BJP, did not respond to the subcommittee pleas. However, our party, AIMIM, had submitted our views in writing to the UPA subcommittee inter alia, pointing out that Muslims have as much stake over the future of Andhra Pradesh as others, such as the people of Telangana or the people of Andhra. The government and the ruling party at the center and in the state should not take any decision on the future of AP without asserting the views and concerns of Muslim community in the state. Therefore, we urge the Congress party as the main party in the coalition government, both at the center and Andhra Pradesh, to give due weightage to the views of Muslim community on Telangana issues. We further pointed out that to decide the future of Andhra Pradesh with reference to demand of separate Telangana state, we feel that the issue requires proper and in-depth study in larger perspective. In the government, in the year 2007, responding to the demand of AIMIM, the other parties, the AP government headed by YS Rajshekar Reddy has constituted 4 regional boards for Telangana, Rayalaseema, North and South Coastal and to address the specific development concern of these regions. While a chairman was appointed for Telangana Regional Development Board, the other boards could not take up the person's name to head them, refused to take up the job. Subsequently, Telangana Regional Development Board also became defunct since it lacked effective powers and adequate funds. Therefore, in the year 2008, the AP government announced Commission for Development of Backward Areas to initiate corrective steps to remove regional imbalances and disparities in the state. But this commission too remained a non-starter. Subsequently, in February 2009, the then Chief Minister, Dr. YS Rajshekar Reddy, announced the constitution of a committee of members of both the houses of AP Legislative Assembly and Council on the issue and concerns regarding the demand of formation of Telangana state. This joint legislative committee, for which the then Finance Minister Mr. K. Roshia was named as chairman, also remained a non-starter. Both the Congress and Grand Alliance led by Telugu Desam went to the 2009 Assembly election on the plank of separate Telangana state. TDP and TRS had an alliance and they formed the Grand Alliance along with the two communist parties after the tragic death of Dr. YS Rajshekar Reddy in a helicopter crash in September 2009. Telangana issue came again to a flashpoint. The subsequent development are well known to all. On 7th of December 2009, the then Chief Minister Sri Roshaya Sahab hurriedly convened a meeting of political parties in Hyderabad to discuss the indefinite fast of TRS President Sri Chandrasekhar Rao Sahab and instead asked the parties to state their views on Telangana statehood demand. As AIMIM floor leader in an assembly, I attended the meeting in Hyderabad, protested against this and sought to know the stand of Congress party and the state government first before other parties were asked to respond. Our party opposed bifurcation of the state. The then Home Minister Sri Chidambaran announced on the night of 9 December 2009 that process of formation of Telangana state was being initiated. The unilateral announcement was made since the Congress party did not consult the other parties of UPA. After the in the other regions, Rayalaseema, Koshalana, then Home Minister, rolled back his earlier statement and announced on 23rd December 2009, the situation got altered and the issue needed wider consultation with all stakeholders. The Union Home Minister convened all-party meeting of state leaders in New Delhi on January 5th, 2010. Thereafter, Sri Krishna Committee was appointed to go into demand of separate Telangana as well as for continuation of Samayika or United Andhra Pradesh. After Sri Krishna Committee submitted his report, Sri Chidambaram convened a meeting on 6 January 2011 to share the copy of the report with the leaders of the 8 parties. Sri Chidambaram had promised to convene another meeting after a fortnight in Jan 2011 itself to take forward the consultation process for an early resolution on the issue. However, it was only after 2 years that the promised meeting was held on 28 December 2012 by the present Union Home Minister, Mr. Sushil Kumar Shinde, for restarting the dialogue on Telangana issues. Thus, AIMIM clearly had categorically stated its view before all party meeting conveyed by successive Union Home Ministers. AIMIM also clearly stated its stand to Sri Krishna Committee in written memorandum and during the interaction meeting the Commission held with our party members during May 2010. For the record, we would like to recall what we had told the Union Government and Sri Krishna Committee on this complicated and emotive issue. We are for the continuation of Andhra Pradesh with statutory safeguards for Telangana region, but if the Union Government sought to bifurcate the state on the criteria of backwardness and neglect, we suggest that the Royal Telangana state would be formed by bringing together Rayalaseema Telangana region with Hyderabad as the capital. We also stated that if for partisan political interest, the Union Government wanted to bifurcate AP to form Telangana state, Hyderabad should be part and parcel of Telangana, and a union territory status for Hyderabad would totally unacceptable to us. We had also stated that Hyderabad cannot be treated as anybody's Jagir. Neither Telangana nor Seema Andhra leaders have the right to bargain over Hyderabad's fate. Since we are the real stakeholder, no deal can be made by anyone for Hyderabad. MIM made it clear to one and all that Hyderabad belongs to all those who live in the city, irrespective of the region, religion, caste, language, community, and class. People from across the state and the country have the right to live peacefully and pursue their vocation and livelihoods here. No one can be driven out or threatened at will this metropolitan city. At the same time, we also said that all the talk of making a common capital, joint capital, second national capital, centrally administered area or for a limited period were utter nonsense and premature. Thus, in contemporary Indian history, the process of consultation to evolve consensus on the issue of separate Telangana statehood can be built at the longest ever as it spanned more than 9 years. The process was initiated soon after 2004 election brought the Congress party to power both at the center and in AP. Despite such consultation process, which included a UPA subcommittee, Sri Krishna Committee meeting convened by Union Home Minister and unending intra-party consultation of Congress, consensus have remained elusive. At long last, the UP and the Congress came out of this self-imposed indecisiveness and took the decision in favor of separate Telangana state at the meeting held on 30th July 2013. Though we may differ with the ways this decision has been imposed, I would like to repeat and say that, though we may differ with the way the decision has been imposed, parties in the state, we accept the formation of state of Telangana as a fait accompli. I repeat and I say once again, though we may differ with the way the decision has been imposed on all political parties in the state, we accept the formation of state of Telangana as a fait accompli. The Union Cabinet at its meeting on 3rd October 2013 approved the decision for creation of new state of Telangana by bifurcating the existing state of Andhra Pradesh in accordance with the Constitution of India. The Union Cabinet also approved the decision to make Hyderabad as the common capital of both states for a period of 10 years after the bifurcation of AP. A group of ministers were constituted to address all issues that needed resolution on the union and the state government level. The GOM was also asked to determine the mechanism to ensure appropriate legal and administrative measures for both successor states government to function from the common capital of Hyderabad during the set period of 10 years. Days and weeks before UPA decision was announced, we had written to the UPA chairperson and Congress President Srimati Sonia Gandhi and Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, reminding them of AIMIM stand that they should keep AP united for providing statutory safeguards for Telangana region. We also reminded them that AIMIM has suggested that if the backwardness of injustice are considered as a criteria for bifurcation, then the state of Royal Telangana, comprising of Telangana and Rayalaseema region, be formed with Hyderabad as the capital. MIM also stated that in event of bifurcation of AP into two states, Telangana and Seema Andhra, Hyderabad should necessarily be part of Telangana, and a union territory status for Hyderabad would be totally unacceptable to us. My party feels that now that UPA and the union government have taken the decision to bifurcate AP, all the stakeholders have to accept it as a fait accompli, since the UPA government is unlikely to roll back the decision for the second time after reversing its earlier decision on 9 December 2009 and 23rd December that year. We acknowledge the inevitability of formation of state of Telangana. Our party would like to appeal to all stakeholders to accept that Hyderabad is part and parcel of Telangana, since both Hyderabad and Telangana are inseparable and the status is non-negotiable. We suggest that the ways and means can be worked out to amicably address the concerns of people of Seema Andhra on matters of relating to sharing of river waters, generating and distribution of electricity safety and security and guarantee of fundamental rights of residents and maintenance of law and order and peaceful harmony. Though the Union Cabinet took the decision in principle to carve out separate state of Telangana, we felt that it counters with regards to the status of Hyderabad were left open to manipulation of bargaining by other stakeholders, more precisely from Seema Andhra region. And this was the reason why we felt that unless this issue is sorted out amicably by the group of ministers, there cannot be any tangible forward movement for the formation of Telangana state. We therefore made a detailed representation to the GOM on its terms of reference on November 4, 2013. We also followed it up with supplementary memorandum when AIMIM President and Hyderabad MP Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi interacted with GOM on November 12, 2013. With regard to proposed boundaries of new state, we strongly urge the GOM to recommend the union government to add at least 2 out of 4 districts of Rayalaseema with 10 districts of Telangana to form the state of Royal Telangana. Sir. And coming to the common capital, sir, both the CWC Union Cabinet decided to take Hyderabad, the common capital of both the state for the period of 10 years. Thereafter, Hyderabad will be the sole capital of Telangana state, whereas the residuary state of AP will have its own capital. However, during this 10 years period, administrative and legal measures would be put in place to enable both governments to function from the common capital. Thus, Hyderabad per se is not to be constituted as a separate administrative unit to serve as common capital for governance. We may point out here that Constitution of India does not contain any specific provision in regard to location of a state capital. Also, there is no president of state having the capital outside its geographical territory. But this would happen if residuary state of AP gets Hyderabad as its common capital. Though for 10 years, while Hyderabad form an integral part of the state of Telangana and serve as capital, I will elaborate on this issue when I talk about amendments to the AP reorganization bill, sir. The other issue arising out of bifurcation of the state concern of Muslims, I would like to highlight the Muslim community's concerns over their fate post-bifurcation of state of Andhra Pradesh. Sir. Now that the bifurcation has been announced, both the union government and the present AP government have to ensure that Muslim minority is not adversely affected by these decisions to form two states. Muslim community shall continue to enjoy the 4% reservation that are offered to the socially and educationally backward group among them in both state and the new state and the residuary states. Urdu, which is designated as second official language of AP, should be made joint first official language along with Telugu in new state, and it shall continue to be second official language in residuary state. The minority shall continue to get substantial budgetary allocation for the welfare in both the states. Both the states need to continue various schemes, policies, and programs being implemented for social, cultural, linguistic, economic, and educational development for the minority and for the empowerment in local, urban, and rural bodies. Their political empowerment will not be complete unless they are given more tickets by various political parties for contesting the 2014 Assembly and Lok Sabha from both the states to inspire confidence among them and to enhance their morale that they have nothing to fear in the new state and the residuary states. Muslims constitute 9.17% of total population in the present state of AP. As per 2011 census, the proportion is 12.43% in Telangana and 6.92% in Seema Andhra, that is 12.50% in Rayalaseema and 4.50% in coastal Andhra region. Within Telangana region, Muslim account for a share of 42% in total population in Hyderabad district and about 33% in Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation areas. Muslim constitute over 10% of population in 306 mandals, including more than 15% in 143 mandals out of total of 1,121 mandals across the present state of AP. Upon bifurcation of state, Muslim proportion to total population would be over 10% in 166 mandals out of the total 571 mandals in 12 districts, Royal Telangana, and 140 mandals out of total of 550 mandals, and in all 11 districts, Seema Andhra Muslims proportions to total population would be over 10% in 113 mandals out of a total 462 mandals in 10 districts, Telangana, and 193 mandals out of the total 659 mandals in 13 districts of Seema Andhra. Muslims are thus spread across the district of Telangana. They are substantial in number, Rayalaseema coastal Andhra district, and constitute a small minority in North coastal Andhra district and residuary state of AP. We have repeatedly told the Union government through the Home Minister and Sri Krishna Committee the bifurcation of AP to create separate state of Telangana would only strengthen the Hindutva forces and the parties supporting them in the region in long run. Sangh Parivar outfits, including the BJP and ABVP, have been in forefront of the agitation for separate Telangana that impacted normal life in the region due to frequent Bandhs, protests, and other forms of agitation in the last 4 years. Minorities have suffered the most during the agitation and Bandhs due to their vulnerable social economic condition. A sense of insecurity, uncertainty gripped Muslims in Telangana region during this period of heightened tension, regional passions. Historically, too, communal riots have been happening in Telangana region since late 1960, while Seema Andhra coastal and Rayalaseema region has been free from bearing occasional outbreaks in some places. Religious intolerance is prevailing in Telangana due to the activities of Sangh Parivar against the minorities. I would also like to remind that the communal incidents that had happened, the first one was in 1967, the Chappal Bazar. In 1966, the Nizamabad. In April 1978, Sabzi Mandi after Ramizabi incident. And then again, in 1978, Sabzi Mandi. In 1979, Alvin Factory, Ibrahimiya Mosque. In 1980, after Lok Sabha elections, July 1981, Goa Festival 33, where people were killed. January 1983, Telugu poet Ghulam Yasin, his wife and son were killed. In 1983, Ahmed Shahi Masjid, Namazi killed in the mosque. In September 83, during Bakri Eid, at Gaulipura, Muslim couple killed. September 1984, during Ganesh procession riots in New City. In 1986 municipal election, P. Siva Reddy and Nakko Raju booked for throwing bombs near polling stations in Old City. October 1990, during Advani's Rath Yatra. December 1990, to dislodge M. Channa Reddy government. In December 1992, police firing after Babri Masjid demolition. In 1998, communal violence in Hyderabad city. 2003, communal violence in city. March 2010, communal violence in Begum Bazar area during Hanuman Jayanti procession. Riot in Madannapet after flesh was thrown in temple by some majority community people, sir. Sir, also to continue, sir, even before the Telangana state has come into being, some communal forces have already acted to foul up the atmosphere and disturb religious harmony, sir. In recent past, sir, few weeks ago, a Christian pastor was brutally attacked in Vikarabad, and come a few days ago, 4 to 5 such incidents of attack on pastors of Christian community have been reported from other parts in Telangana, sir. No one has been arrested for these attacks. I only hope that this mischief mongers would be brought to book immediately, sir. Thus, the communal atmosphere in the last 4 years, due to aggressive posturing of Sangh Parivar and BJP on Telangana state issue, and a series of communal incidents that occurred during this period have added a new, more dangerous dimension to the Telangana issue. The other major political players in the region are quiet in this sorry situation, since they are not at all sure of getting Muslim support in the elections, sir. Sir, we apprehended that after formation of state of Telangana, the BJP and TDP would gain a lot politically, because the disappearance of Telangana Rashtriya Samiti due to its merger or its weakening in the post-bifurcation scenario would leave a vacuum for communal forces led by Sangh Parivar to fill in. The creation of the state of Telangana would deal a body blow to secular forces of the region and leave the field wide open for Sangh Parivar to target the minorities in this scene, conceding Telangana state to term big backdrop for the minorities, adding to their security and livelihood concerns, sir. My learned friend is getting very agitated, sir. Sir, I'm being focused on the bill and on the subject, sir. If the Honorable BJP floor leader
Leave it at
wants
that.
to react,
Yes.
I would request him to please react on today's Hindus newspaper. BJP restates opposition to T bill. What is your stand? Is BJP going to support the Telangana bill when it comes in the parliament? Will the BJP support the Telangana bill when it comes in this winter session in the month of February in the parliament? Or are they not going to support? Because after Babu Saab coming close to BJP, there is a doubt in the minds of Telangana people. There is a mind. And I would like to tell, if such a thing happens, TDP nor BJP will have the face to come in the region of Telangana. The people of Telangana will not forgive them for this. If he wants to react, let him more react on this. There is a very serious doubt on that. Moreover, Muslims and other minorities are also apprehensive about the disempowerment if Hindu forces eventually dominate the political seal in the state of Telangana after bifurcation of AP. These apprehensions are real and not imaginary, because BJP and its alliance rule states like Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Punjab. Not a single Muslim MP was elected in 2009 elections. In other states ruled by BJP in the past, such as Jharkhand and Karnataka too, no Muslim MP were elected in 2009, sir. There is no Muslim representation in Gujarat Assembly, Punjab Assembly. In the recent election only, one Muslim member was elected in Madhya Pradesh and 2 Muslim candidates in Rajasthan. There is no Muslim representation in Chhattisgarh Assembly now, sir. Even in Congress ruled AP, we would like to point out that a single Muslim candidate was elected for 41 Lok Sabha constituencies other than Hyderabad and 283 assembly constituencies across the state. No Muslim was elected from 16 other Lok Sabha constituency and 112 assembly constituencies in 9 districts Telangana region outside Hyderabad in 2009 election.
Yes.
This sorry situation prevailed despite the fact that large number of Lok Sabha and assembly constituencies in all the 3 regions of Telangana, Rayalaseema, Coastal Andhra have sizable number of Muslim voters. There are serious apprehensions that the presence of Muslims will get further reduced after bifurcation of AP, with the main political parties in the new state and the residuary state not showing any inclination or enthusiasm to field a substantial number of Muslim candidates in Lok Sabha elections to the proportion of the total population. So the presence of elected Muslim members in the local body and municipal corporation, Gram Panchayats, Mandal Parishad and Zilla Parishad is only nominal in the existing state of AP. Thus, political empowerment of Muslim in both states, irrespective of the fact whether they are big or small, is emerging as a major issue which cannot be ignored by political establishment. I say this, when I say this, I would also like to remind and recall my TRS friends also. Remember what had happened in Mehboob Nagar. What had happened in Mehboob Nagar. All the secular-minded people should see that what had happened in Mehboob Nagar should not be repeated. We should see that more of Muslims from all political parties get the proper representation to voice the problems of Muslim minorities in both the states. Sir, we may point out that there are reservations for backward classes on the lines of reservation for women's, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in local bodies, both Panchayat Raj institution, urban local bodies in existing states of AP. Thanks to BC reservation, candidates from BC communities, including those belonging to socially, educationally backward class of Muslim BCE group, are entering the poll fray in the local bodies. We therefore request the union government to ensure continuance of these reservations for BCs in local bodies, both rural and urban, in both the new state and the residuary state on bifurcation of AP. Over the last 57 years, the government of AP has initiated several schemes for the minorities and also established number of minority-related institutions. These institutions include Department of Minority Welfare at the Secretariat, the Commissionerate, the Minority Welfare, AP State Waqf Board, Urdu Academy of AP, AP State Minority Commission, AP State Hajj Committee, AP Minority Finance Corporation, AP State Christian Minority Finance Corporation, AP State Waqf Tribunal, Center for Education Development of Minorities, and Survey Commissioner of Waqf. Upon bifurcation of the state of AP, both the new state and the residuary state shall have these institutions, organization in respect of the territories, while these bodies, organization will devolve into the residuary states. Similarly, similar institution organizations shall be constituted in the new state also. A large number of schemes for minorities are under implementation in existing state of AP. These include bankable schemes and many other schemes, training, employment, service, construction and repair of Waqf institution, and many other are there, sir. Sir, I also would like to request, sir, there are many things that I am skipping out. After my completion of talk, I request the Honorable Speaker to please permit me to lay my speech on the table so that this could go with the bill as the views of mine, sir. Because the time is very less, so I'm just skipping many points, sir.
It will form part
Sir,
of the official record.
Sir, we would like to remind the union
speeches
government
in writing also, lay it on the table. It will form part of the record. Yes.
Right, sir. We would like to remind the union government that Muslims have apprehensions about the future, more so about the security and safety in the wake of bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh. Now their concern needs to be addressed when the AP reorganization bill is enacted by the parliament. We have therefore sought specific measures to protect the interests of minorities in the two states, sir. We also demand that minority sub-plan, the approach paper to the 12th five-year plan, 2012 and 17, talking about faster, sustainable and more inclusive growth, says minority and other excluded groups also need special programs to bring them into the mainstream to achieve the inclusiveness in all these dimensions require multiple interventions, and success depends not only on introducing new policies and government programs, but on institutional and attitudinal changes brought about, which takes time. The approach paper points out that an important initiative is in closing the gap between SCs and STs, and the rest in the concept of special component plan consists of scheduled caste sub-plan and the tribal sub-plan. This strategy propounds the direct plan resource towards meeting their needs in proportion to the share in total population. Sir. The government of AP has constituted 9-member subcommittee chaired by Deputy Chief Minister to examine the issues relating to implementation of SC, SP and TSP in state based on Cabinet Subcommittee report. The state government has initiated follow-up action. The AP, SC's, SP and TSP Act number 1 of 2013 has been enacted by AP legislature, and the finance minister has presented separate SC, SP and TSP documents to the state legislature for financial year 2013-14. Backward class organizations have demanded the state government to introduce backward class caste special sub-plan on the lines of SC, SP and TSP in the state. The state government submitted proposal in this regard to the union government to provide sub-plan for BCs in AP. It is an accepted fact that minorities, especially Muslims, are more backward than the SCs and STs and BCs in all social, economic and educational parameters. The Muslim community in the state, as elsewhere in the country, is steeped in poverty, illiteracy, ill health and overall deprivation. Sir. Though the government of AP has made allocation of 1,020 crores for the minority welfare in current financial year, but this comes to less than 2% of the state annual plan outlay. The state government is implementing 13 central sponsor schemes and 32 schemes, and these account for bulk of annual plan outlay. Now the state government has massive outlays for SC, TSP, state annual plan. The BCs are mounting pressure. Our party MIM has been impressing upon both the union government and the government of AP to introduce minority sub-plan by allocating a proportion of planned fund on lines of SC, SP and TSP as the minorities account for 11% of state population. We suggest that the allocation and mark for minority sub-plan should be 11% of the state annual plan outlay. Sir. The PM's 15-point program for the welfare of minorities also sets apart 15% of physical target and financial allocations for 18 identified central schemes for minorities. The state government requires to earmark 15% of funds under these central schemes for minorities. Sir. Sir, in this backdrop, we earnestly request the union government to incorporate provisions in AP reorganization bill for continuance of statutory allocation for SC, SP and TSP in both the states, the new state and residuary state, and for introduction of minority sub-plan by earmarking 12.5% of annual plan outlay for minorities in new state of Telangana and 7% in residuary state. Thus, both the state together would be able to earmark rupees 6,000 crore a year for minority welfare, and this would be nearly 5 times more than the plan allocation of rupees 1,020 made for minorities welfare in state budget of AP for 2013 and 14. Sir, coming now to the communal violence bill, sir. Sir, as I stated, Telangana region has the checkered history of sporadic communal violence through occasionally communal tension is witnessed in some parts of Rayalaseema region as well. Referring to the long-term internal security implications, the task force headed by Mr. Vijay Kumar is said to have felt that communalism along the menace and the terrorism would continue to be the foremost concern for Telangana. On the other hand, beside coastal security and menace, communalism will be an area of prime concern in the residuary state of AP. In this backdrop, we urge the Union government to enjoin upon the government of the two states upon bifurcation of state of AP to enact the Prevention of Communal Target Violence, Access to Justice and Reparation Bill in their respective state so as to enhance state accountability and correct discriminatory exercise of state powers in context of identity-based violence and restore equal access to the law for the religious and linguistic minorities, as well as scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, sir. So now I would like to deal with the amendment proposed by our party in various clauses of AP reorganization bill, sir. Firstly, sir, the bifurcation of High Court. It may be recalled that the High Court of Hyderabad was established way back in 1872 by the then Nizam, with civil and criminal jurisdiction in 1885. A regulation was passed to enlarge its power in 1927. A royal charter was issued and an act was passed in 1928 under which the High Court had both judicial administrative powers. The High Court building was inaugurated by 7th Nizam bin Usman Ali Khan in April 1920. After the integration of erstwhile Nizam dominions with the Indian Union, this High Court became part of Hyderabad state. After the formation of Andhra Pradesh in 1956, the then High Court of Hyderabad state and Andhra Pradesh state were merged and the AP High Court was formed. The present High Court was sanctioned strength of 49 judges. Beside the Chief Justice, at present the High Court consists of Chief Justice along with 35 other judges, sir. We may point out that formation of AP state in 1956, Telangana region did not get its due share of post of Chief Justice and judges of AP High Court. Out of 34 former Chief Justice of AP High Court till now, 11 hail from Seema Andhra, only 5 from Telangana. The remaining 18 former Chief Justices were the ones transferred to AP High Court from other states. Out of 163 judges AP High Court, as many as 110 hail from Seema Andhra and only 38 were from Telangana. Remaining 15 judges were the one transferred to AP High Court from other states. Similarly, the present Chief Justices from outside the state. Of the 35 judges, 26 hail from Seema Andhra, 7 from Telangana, and the 2 judges are transferred from outside the state. There are 24 high courts in countries. At present, out of 28 states, 23 states in Union Territory of Delhi have their own high courts. Punjab and Haryana have a common high court. Bombay High Court has jurisdiction over state of Goa beside Maharashtra. Guwahati High Court has jurisdiction over 3 other states: Nagaland, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh. Beside Assam, almost 48 years after their formation, Punjab and Haryana state have not set up their own high courts. Punjab and Haryana state have not set up their own high courts, and the common high court has come to stay. We feel that there is no need for a common high court for Telangana and regenerative state of AP at all. We urge the union government to take steps for bifurcation of AP High Court into separate High Court for the new state of Telangana and the regenerative state of AP. The High Court of regenerative state can be housed in Hyderabad for a short period before it is moved out of designated city in the regenerative states. We also seek immediate bifurcation of AP Administrative Tribunal. And coming now on the common governor, sir, the AP reorg for a common governor for both the successor states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana for such period as may be determined by the President. The common governor is also entrusted a special responsibility for scrutiny of life, liberty, property of all those who reside in the common capital area. The common governor will be responsible for matters relating to law and order, internal security, and the security of vital installation in common capital. The governor will be assisted by 2 advisors to be appointed by central government. Article 153 of the Constitution says, there shall be a governor for each state, providing that nothing in this article shall prevent the appointment of the same person as governor of 2 states or more states. Sometimes governor of state is entrusted the additional charge of as governor of another state as temporary measure, but this provision is being invoked to have common governor for Telangana and regenerative state of AP for a period of 10 years. Sir, we would like to point out that there is no provision in Constitution for appointment of a common governor for 2 states. So the provision of appointment of common governor for both states, Telangana and regenerative AP, which are reasonably large state for a period of 10 years incorporated in the draft bill has no justification at all. This would make the common governor a super governor, I would say. And I'm surprised as to why the legislators hailing from Telangana region from the Congress party had kept quiet on this. Common governor, common capital, then the law and order. I do not understand. Location of a state capital posed no problem when other states were formed and union territories were upgraded to statehood rights since 1956, with the exemption of Punjab, Haryana. I'm talking about the common capital, sir. Haryana, Meghalaya, because the newly carved state were located in regions away from the state capitals of the residuary state. Example in this regard are Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, as well as northeastern state. There is thus no justification on merit in the proposal for making Hyderabad as a common capital of state consequent to the bifurcation of AP, sir. Sir, when I say of the common capital unacceptable, the governor is also unacceptable. Sir, it will not be out of place to recall that Chennai, Madras, was not made the capital of erstwhile state of Andhra, which was carved out of composite Madras state, present-day Tamil Nadu on 1st October 1953. The then Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and the then government of Madras similarly rejected the claims of Andhra leaders over Madras city to be the capital of new state. Consequently, Andhra state chose Kurnool town as a capital, where the new formed Andhra High Court was located at Guntur town. So similarly, Bombay was not made the common capital when old Bombay state was bifurcated to form the state of Maharashtra and Gujarat in the year 1960. The then Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru rejected the suggestion of making Mumbai the joint capital of two states, even though the Assembly of Undivided Bombay State had passed a resolution for making Mumbai a union territory. However, Chandigarh was made into union territory upon bifurcation of Punjab for creation of Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, and designated as common capital of state of Punjab, Haryana, precisely because both the states were lying claim to it. The then Prime Minister, Mr. Indira Gandhi, chose to make Chhattisgarh the common capital of both the states, since they have geographical continuation to the city. To facilitate this, Chandigarh was made the union territory for a limited period of 5 years, by which time both the states were supposed to build their own full-fledged capital. But even 47 years after the formation of both the states of Punjab and Haryana, have not built their own capitals and continue to function from Chandigarh as the common capital. The state of Himachal Pradesh designate Simla in its own territory to serve as its capital. I doubt and I fear that what happened, what I said, should not be repeated for Telangana. And we have our strong doubts. That is why we oppose this common capital, sir. Also, Shillong became the capital of the state of Meghalaya, which was granted full statehood in 1972 and ceased to be capital of residuary state of Assam. Since Assam had no geographical continuity to the city, the then Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, asked the state of Assam to shift the capital from Shillong. Thus, the residuary state its administrative capital in Dispur and legislative capital in Guwahati. Why the same stand is not being taken for Telangana? Why again keep the people of Andhra in the dilemma of knowing where their capital will be? Why don't the government of India decides now itself as to where a new capital of Andhra should be located? It will be easy for everybody. Why are they delaying and dallying and not taking a decision? Sir, I, on behalf of AIMIM, have my strong doubts. And I demand that when the draft bill would be introduced in the parliament, that time the government of India should also announce the new capital for the rest of the state, sir. It is necessary. It is the need. Always, they take time to decide, and then the confusion is created, sir. We therefore felt that the ruling alliance and the union government have caused great ambiguity and confusion by the decision to make Hyderabad as a common capital for the new state and the rest of the state for a period of 10 years. This formation of common capital was further compounded with stipulation that legal and administrative measures would be evolved to ensure that the board state government can function efficiently for Hyderabad as common capital for 10 years.
Yes, Mr. Owaisi.
It would be completely illogical and impractical and would be big mistake for the residential state of AP to have its capital, nerve center of its administration, legislature, judiciary located in a different state. And that too at a distance of more than 200 kilometers from the closest border of a long period of 10 years. If the common capital of resident state is located at Hyderabad, it would mean that while the resident state would compromise 13 districts or 11 districts, if Royal Telangana is formed with Kurnool and Anantapur district tagged on 10 Telangana district in a compact geographical area, its headquarters would be located at the center of different states. Telangana, from where the Chief Minister, Council Ministers, Governors, Legislature, High Court, Secretariat and Heads of Department Office would function, having a capital city in neighboring state runs contrary to the entire concept and logic of having a capital city, sir. We would like to recall that there was much bad blood and intense enmity between the Andhras and Tamils in the erstwhile Madras state during the separation in 1953, particularly for the ownership over the city of Madras, Chennai. Similar situation arose for Bombay, Mumbai between Marathis and Gujaratis when Bombay state was bifurcated to form Maharashtra state and Gujarat state in 1960, sir. On both these occasions, the union government kept Madras and Bombay as part of geographical areas in which they existed. In Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, respectively, their status was nor did the union government take over any part of administration, law and order, directly and indirect on the grounds of safety and security. Andhra residents of Madras, Gujarat, residents of Bombay, sir.
Mr. Owaisi, you need to conclude. You need to conclude.
Sir, there is no disturbance. I am not targeting anybody. I am just speaking on the bill, sir. It's very important, sir.
We have to regulate the time.
I humbly
Yes.
submit and request you, sir.
Yes.
Kindly just give some time, sir. I have to go through. And also, sir, from my party, I would be the lone member speaking. That is why I request, sir, you have given opportunity to other parties, 3 or 4
Thanks
members.
for reminding. Yes.
So in this sense, there can be no compromise on Hyderabad being part of the state of Telangana. Telangana has always been hinterland of Hyderabad, and without Hyderabad, the state of Telangana will be totally unviable. Without Hyderabad, Telangana will only be truncated state, lacking the basic growth engines to propel its development. The state of Telangana minus Hyderabad will be more an economic disaster. The state of Telangana can survive only with the revenues generated in Hyderabad, sir. We would like to point out the formation of a common capital is totally unacceptable and impractical as it infringes into the territorial integrity of the state of Telangana, which is to comprise all 10 districts of region as per the decision of Union Cabinet, sir. Multiple identities of Hyderabad. There is no uniform, clear concept of geographical limits and boundaries of Hyderabad city. It varies from one enactment to another. Hence, the issue of determining what really constitutes Hyderabad in terms of geographical boundaries for the purpose of serving as common capital or any other formulation is fraught with serious consequences. Hyderabad today has a distinct and different geographical denotations as detailed below. Hyderabad Revenue District as defined under the District Formation Act. Hyderabad City as notified under Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation Act 2007. Hyderabad has demarcated under the Hyderabad Metropolitan Development Authority Act 2008. Hyderabad Urban Agglomeration of delineated by the Census Department. The Hyderabad District, present day Hyderabad and Rangareddy District together, and Hyderabad Metropolitan Area suggested by Sri Krishna Committee. The Hyderabad Revenue District consists of Hyderabad city and Secunderabad cantonment with an area of 217 square kilometers and a population of 39. Whether Telangana comes in reality or the state of Andhra Pradesh is united, whatever happens, sir, let us not forget, we all are Indians, and we all are Indians, and this country is more dearer to us than the regions and the regional politics. Let us all come together. Let us end the division. Let us not divide our hearts and mind. Let us all come together, fight for this country, fight for the secularism of this country, and see that the country wins, not the region wins. I thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yes.